Hello everyone, it's Ellen and I have a new junk journal process video to share with you today. To start off though, I'm just showing you what I have recently got from charity shops and some second-hand shops, and I'm going to be using some of these items in my journal spread today. So first of all, I'm going through these doilies. I collect these vintage doilies. I particularly love the hand embroidered ones and the crochet ones. I think they're beautiful. I did upload before some printable linens and doilies to my Etsy shop, and I'm thinking about redoing all of them. They're not available at the moment, but I'm thinking about redoing them and selling them again because they were a great product. You could print them onto sticker paper, you could use them as journaling spots or decorative pieces. They were really beautiful. So yeah, keep an eye out for that. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in. I've got a sewing pattern. I love sewing patterns. I will pick them up, particularly if they're fairly cheap. Some children's books with keywords on them, some jumbo playing cards, which I thought I might create some art journal pieces on them. This cute little notebook with some nice thick paper inside, a book about flowers, a beautiful vintage music paper book. I love that. A Peter Rabbit book. I particularly love the title pages. I think they're absolutely stunning, so I'm going to use them in my journal. I found a little triangle punch, and then I found these weird letters that they've got like magnets on the back. I think they are something to do with English language. I'm a bit confused as to what they are, but I find a really fun way to use them actually. Some vintage playing cards, which I also collect, and then some vintage games. This one called Kit Kat, which I've never heard of before, and I think the other one was called Tell Me. I can't see it on my screen. I found some beautiful coasters and another book, I think that was. So yeah, I've gone through those things and I've picked out what I want to use. So we're starting off with a title page. Every time I reach a new month in my journal, I create a title page. It's partly to keep me up to date with where I am when I'm you know, looking through my journals, but also it's a way to just be creative. I find sometimes I get so stuck in telling the story of what we did that day that I forget about being a little bit creative. So creating a title page just allows me a bit more freedom. I can make it look how I want it to look, if that makes any sense. So I took one of those pages from the Kit Kat game, and I've used those letters from that literature, English language magnet set, and I found that I could write March with them. So they fit perfectly in the boxes of the Kit Kat game, so it was meant to be. And then gone in with my knife and I've cut out the squares, the rest of the squares. So obviously I've used the letters for March, and then I've cut out the rest of the squares. But behind 5 of them I've added some small pictures from the month of March, and then the rest are going to be backed in this green paper. I think it's a crate paper. And I'm then going to decorate in those little boxes. And I love this. The only problem is this Kit Kat paper is quite fragile, I guess. I mean, it's quite thick, but when I was trying to cut it with my knife, even though my knife was nice and sharp, it was tearing in places. I haven't given myself loads of a border either, so that obviously made a difference, but anywhere that it has sort of teared, I've covered up with a sticker anyway, so hopefully you won't be able to see that too badly. I absolutely love how this turned out. I think this looks really interesting. So yeah, I've got that green backing paper stuck down. I'm now going through a crepe paper sticker book. I can't remember what crepe paper book this is called, I'm sorry. If you want to know, please leave a comment and I'll find it for you. But I thought I'd use all these really cute animals because I find these a bit difficult to use in my spreads. So I've got a little doe, a squirrel, a bird, and then I've got all of the little flowers, some butterflies and some gold stars as well. And I've just gone mad with these stickers all over that title page. I've added a couple of these larger flower stickers to the corner just to fill it out a bit more. And now I've gone in with one of my Simple Stories, the Colour Vibe Alpha sticker books. I absolutely love these. The only thing is I don't trust their stickiness, particularly on such a vintage paper. So I'm going over them with some sellotape just to get them, make sure they're stuck in. I used to have a bit of aversion with sellotape in my journal, but when things have kept falling out on me, I will add it if it means that what I've stuck down is going to stay stuck down. I'm adding a couple more of those clear sticker flowers to the bottom, and that's this title page finish. I love it. I think it looks really different, and it felt really creative doing this, so I'm really happy with it. Like I said, I like my title pages to be nice and creative when I have the time to do so. My page that I'm working on is a little bit wider than the Kit Kat piece, and it's not very interesting in the background, so I've added a floral washi tape to the inside. It's just got some pretty looking wildflowers similar to the ones that I've used on the title piece itself. I'm sticking that with glue. Again, I do not trust washi tape, so I'm adding some tacky glue to the edges just to try and secure it in place, and then I'll add my title page in. Okay, so I wanted to add one of those jumbo playing cards to this page as well, and I've got these wooden numbers. I found these in a local shop and they were 10p each, so I got as many as I could to correlate with the months of the year. So you'll see these crop up again. They're absolutely beautiful. They're not too thick either, so I can put them in my journal. Sometimes some wood pieces can be too much and take up too much room, but these are a really lovely size. So I thought I'd use the back of the playing card to add my 3 to, and I've added some clear leafy stickers as well just to decorate it a bit more. I wanted to colour the 3 in pink because I've got some pink and green on the left page, so I wanted to bring that through to the right page. And that pen, that is a acrylic paint pen, and it took so long to colour that 3 in, so I ended up doing it off camera. And yeah, it looks really nice, but that was a pain in the bum, and next time I think I'll just paint it rather than try and use one of those pens. The nib on the pen is really thin, so yeah, it was way more effort than it was worth. So I'm also going to add some lace. I love tactile pieces in my journal, so I quite often add lace or some form of fabric. I've then, on the back of the playing card, added one of those Tell Me game pieces, and it just says, what do you desire most, on the back of it. There's no meaning to that, I just liked the orange, so I've used that one. To add this into my journal as a tip-in, I'm doing what I usually do, which is add a folded piece of vellum. I like using vellum this way because it's see-through, so it doesn't cover up too much, but it's sturdy enough to keep the pieces, to keep the tip in my journal. I used to use washi tape, but again, I don't trust it, particularly with a job like this of keeping things together. So vellum works really well. I've got quite a thin vellum that I use. I'm then going to use one of those pages from that little pocket book that I found from the charity shop as well. I trimmed it down a bit because I want you to be able to see that it's a playing card behind it, and I also didn't need that much room. And then I found a beautiful I think it's a poem. It says, "A whisper of warmth fills the air, and I think how beautiful it is to feel the seasons changing on our skin." And that is from Luna Lynn, and I write that on that piece of little paper from that little book. and of course added some more leafy stickers. I like my florals, my botanicals. Once that's all stuck down, I've also sewn around the edge of this card as well. I tried to video my sewing machine, but my filming shelf is too low down to be able to show you, and also it's not that interesting. I've just sewn around the edge with a normal straight stitch. It's not that interesting, but it has kept several things in place, including the lace and that orange card from the game. I've stuck that into the journal now. I've added a couple of stickers above the poem that I wrote, and they just say Adventures and Hand in Hand. That was from another crepe paper sticker book, I believe. So now that's added in, I can decorate the page underneath. I've got another beautiful wide floral washi to go down the side to decorate it, but also keep the tip in place even more. I try and make sure everything's really secure, whether that's stitching or stapling or sellotape, just because I want these journals to last. I want Theo to hopefully look through these when he's older, so I don't want anything falling out, and it does happen. That's why I also use quite a bit of double-sided tape. Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure things are secure. I've got a gorgeous photo of Theo and Brett reading a book together in a cafe that we went to. I wanted to back it on some white paper, and Theo had left some drawings on my desk. Well, he'd basically gotten a pencil and stabbed it through the paper. So I thought, rather than waste that, I'll add that to my journal as well, and I'll know that that's his drawing underneath there as well. I'm adding a quote from a Simple Story sticker book. That's the Simple Vintage Essentials. Really lovely sticker book actually. It's lots of letters but also some quotes. The quote that I added to this page was two of a kind, which I thought worked perfectly. I'm obviously tying in some more of the green and botanical style with a couple more of those green leafy stickers on the end, and that is this page finished. Okay, so moving on to my next couple of pages, and you can see I'm adding that sewing pattern to part of the right hand page and to most of the left hand page, and it actually ties in really well. So Theo has started preschool. He started in January, and I was very excited because this year was our first World Book Day. And I've always wanted to create Theo a costume for this, so I was really excited about this, and the sewing pattern just ties in with the theme really well because I did make Theo's costume this year. So I asked Theo what his favourite book was, and at that moment in time it was Green Eggs and Ham, the wonderful Dr. Seuss book, which I was so happy about because it's not so common anymore. It's probably a bit old now, but it was one of my favourites and my brother's favourites when we were little, so I was really happy that he chose that. It's different than what you'd normally expect a 3-year-old to choose, but Theo is not like the average child anyway. So yeah, I'm talking on these pages about how I created his costume. So I did have a look online. It is possible to buy a Sam I Am costume or even a Green Eggs and Ham costume. However, I thought I could make it better. So I took an old yellow long sleeve t-shirt and I added some ostrich feathers to the sleeves. I was going off the illustrations in the book that Theo has, and it looked like he had sort of fur coming out from his sleeves, so that was to represent that. I added a little name tag on the pocket of his t-shirt that said Sam I Am, and I did buy him a hat that was, it's actually a cat in the hat, but I thought it went fairly well with the Dr. Seuss theme. You know, everybody could tell who he was. I didn't want anybody to think, who on earth is Theo dressed as? And then the green eggs and ham I made with some cardboard on a paper plate, and then I paper mache'd them and glued it all together with my glue gun and stuck a fork in the ham, and it worked really well. And he was so proud of his little green eggs and ham. He still has them, they're on top of his wardrobe, and he took them to preschool, and I thought that they would get destroyed there, but they didn't. He looked after them all day. He did really well. He was very protective over them, apparently. He was really happy with his costume, which is the most important thing. And all in all, it cost me less to create the costume than it did, than it would have to have just brought something new that wouldn't have been as nice. However, I have the time to do so. I'm a stay-at-home mum, so, you know, if you don't have the time, I completely understand. But I do wish we had more handmade costumes, particularly for things like Halloween. I used to go out in a bin bag with a witch's hat on my head when I was younger at Halloween, and now there's all these amazing costumes, which is wonderful. But I wish we saw a few more handmade ones. I think there's something really special about that. I don't know if it's because my mum always handmade ours and they weren't perfect. My mum is not overly crafty. I think she would say that herself. But she always really tried with stuff like this. I remember World Book Day going as somebody from The Matrix, I think. And that was a made costume. You couldn't buy costumes back then, so she didn't have a choice. So yeah, I wish we saw that a bit more, but all of them looked fantastic in all of their costumes. And I was really pleased with Theo. But yeah, best of all, he loved it. He thought I did a really good job. So that makes me feel really happy as a mum. One thing I can do is craft, so if I can make Theo happy with something that I've crafted, I'm doing a great job. That makes me feel really happy. So yes, I added some journaling on a scrap of lined pattern paper. I've added the stickers. I've backed the photos onto some of that plain book paper. Added the ostrich feathers all along the top, and again it's another tactile piece in my journal, which makes me really happy, and some phrase stickers, and that's it. So I hope you enjoyed my first process video after over a year of uploading. It's certainly very nice to be back, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, bye bye.